Mom thinks I owe her my time and can read minds. Let's start with saying that I have ADHD, both diagnosed by professionals, and the ADHD part was reevaluated 3 times, and the autism was confirmed after I demanded a second opinion. I am no contact with my dad. He is a diagnosed narcissist. However, I had regular contact with my mom before I got pregnant in the fall of 2021. Since we, my partner and I, have gone low contact. My mom loves talking about how she raised us since I got pregnant, like how I, at 3.5, while she was resting from surgery, aesthetic, she had my grandmother take us to daycare for 4 weeks, and how in week 2, I gave my grandmother the tricks of how my mom wrangled my brothers who would take off their snow gears while the other was getting dressed, 2-year-old twins. The trick was dressing me first and putting me on the balcony in a high-crime area of town, closing the door behind me to not let the cold air in, dressing one of the boys, putting him on the balcony for me to watch, and taking care of the other before putting him on the balcony too, dressing herself and taking them down the 3 flights of stairs which didn't have child safety gates to the car with me following. She reminds me every few months to this day how her and my grandmother were disappointed in me and resentful for not telling my grandmother sooner. Or when she took us to get our pictures taken at Sears and we were being toddlers, I think I was 5, touching everything and me randomly screaming, a stim I used to have when overwhelmed. She kept telling us to sit and be quiet, but we wouldn't. So after 15 minutes, she said she lost patience, left the photographer's waiting area, took us to the parking where she proceeded to hit us bare bottom, one after the other, until she was certain we would remember the punishment for days to come. She confirmed it was about us feeling the pain for days. She laughs about how painful her hands were and how she had feared at the time that someone would call my country's equivalent of CPS on her. She laughs even harder remembering that when my dad asked how our day went, I allegedly said we got a lot of slaps and no pictures. She is proud to say that when we went back the next day, we were the picture-perfect kids and how many compliments she got on our good behavior, or how often she beat my brother's ass until it bruised for climbing furniture, or how I would make myself severely sick to not eat the food. She cooked. I have sensory issues. So many more stories of me either being parentified, including leaving me alone for 4 months with my brothers when I was 15. I had to pay for groceries for all 3 of us with my own money, or me and my siblings being abused. It terrifies me that she could sow something similar to my son because she is not all regretting her actions, but she thinks they are funny stories from our childhood, including denying us food for days on end. In the last few years, my mental health has been very poor, medication is difficult due to allergies and side effects, and therapy takes the time it needs. But I am better. So in the last few weeks, my ergotherapist has put a plan in place to help me regain more independence, energy, and physical wellness. It's hard. It takes 4 to 8 hours a day, and I'm exhausted by the end of it. My psychologist is all for it. My partner is 100% behind me, encouraging me, helping where he can. It's going well. But because of it, I haven't been very social. I don't reach out to anyone. I'm in bed by 9 every night at the latest. My mom never reaches out first, but apparently she didn't like that I didn't answer her text at 11:41 last night. So she called today at noon. At first it was just small talk. How am I? Blah, blah, blah. I remind her that I'm doing the ergo plan to get me back on track. She brushed it off. No surprise, she doesn't believe that my mental health is poor. Hers is worse and she doesn't need that much help. Good for her, but she hasn't worked a day in over 20 years, lives on disability. And I have done all the hard things for her until I gave birth, and even a few after, including playing armchair psychologist. While I want to get back in the workforce and get better where I will need minimal help in my day-to-day life. So she tells me about how she had to cook that ham she got for Easter that I didn't come and eat with her. My son had a respiratory infection severe enough that we could barely keep his asthma in check. We had packed a go bag just in case we needed to take him to the hospital again. She lives an hour away by car, or an hour and 20 minutes away from the children's hospital. Why she didn't keep the ham in her freezer a bit longer, I don't know, but it apparently needed to be cooked today. She proceeded to ask me to come get what she wouldn't eat. I reminded her that my husband has the car at work and that I'm doing my plan. Plus, using transits, she is at least 2 hours away, and that's if all the bus transfers are perfect and I don't need to wait more than 10 minutes between them. I don't have the time or energy to do this. So I tell her sorry, it's not possible. She then said that it's okay. She would just bin all the food. At this point, I am drained and say that I do not know what she wants me to say. She says, "Wow, call me when you want to see me," and hanged up. 3 minutes later, I get a text from her that I'll translate for you guys. "You know I have little things for my son. You could just have told me I could come for a little while. Bye." She never comes to my house. She never offers to make my life easier by doing anything for me. She never hinted at the fact she would be willing to come. She knows I don't get social clues or nice actions. She knows I don't read minds, and that I am very bad at guessing what people want from me. She is so passive-aggressive, always has been if I am honest. But it's getting worse. She's pissed when I don't make her a priority. She's pissed I don't let her babysit my son while she says her son like I'm just the incubator who keeps the toddler until she wants him. She's not allowed unsupervised near my child. She's pissed when I let other people babysit him. She's pissed when I don't call her every day. She's pissed when I don't take care of things for her. Despite knowing that to prioritize her, I was living a very unhealthy life. My needs are always last. She started doing the same to my husband, and it bothered me when I realized it. But it still didn't really click. It really started to click how entitled she was with my time and resources when I was pregnant. I had a very high-risk pregnancy due to a lot of complications, and the whole time she kept saying she didn't understand why I had so little energy or why I was so sick, because when she was pregnant with me, insert whatever she did, felt, or how she acted. It clicked when a week after I gave birth, despite her having been there for the birth after she insisted, she wanted me to visit her, and that she was disappointed that I said no to go back to the hospital to treat my son's severe jaundice instead. You could have come just for an hour or so, and delay by 4 hours my son's treatment? It clicked when she wanted me bring my son to her so she could cuddle my child, but be of no other help. It clicked when she kept telling me to stop pumping milk and just buy formula for him. It would be easier. When my son needed a very specific, very expensive formula. Formula we couldn't really afford. Well, I didn't breastfeed any of you, and you turned out fine. But today it's so evident how entitled she is, how without asking she expected me to drop everything and go to her for food, and how I should have just guessed that I should tell her to visit when she never does. Even when offered, she never comes. But today I should have guessed that she would. My partner reminds me that no, I can't read minds. And no, I couldn't have guessed. But he's at work, and I'm overwhelmed, tired, and defeated. I feel like I'm asking too much to want just one parent in my corner. I think it's why I still have any contact with her. I feel sad. I needed to vent. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Sorry for the long post. English is not my first language. Sorry for all mistakes or if this made little sense. I am also on mobile.